welcome to Tried and Tested Cycle Coaching. This is the Mallorca Masters 2025 post-race analysis and review. I'll also try and give you a bit more information regarding the event if you've never done it or you're thinking of taking part in it. It's such a good race. Totally recommend it to anyone who's keen on racing a bike. It's for master cyclists, so anyone over the age of 30. Essentially, it's in two age groups. So you've got the 30s and 40s racing together, and then you've got the 50s to 60s racing together. It's over 4 stages, 2 of which take place down near Palma on the western side of the island, and then you've got stages 3 and 4, which are on the northeastern side of the island, up near Palencia and Alcudia. Generally speaking, the roads are good if it's not wet, and we'll get more into that in a minute. But you're on totally closed roads. You've got full, police support, outriders. You won't find a better stage race, this side of professional cycling for amateurs. It's definitely worth one to tick off the list if you're passionate about racing. What else can I tell you? Most of the riders are from Europe, with quite a large contingent from the UK. Obviously, Spain dominate it because it's their home event, and then you've got riders from the likes of Germany, Poland, and some of the other smaller European nations. But you get a good mix of riders. Obviously, it's amateur racing, so the spread of abilities is quite wide. But you do get some strong riders as well. So it's quite fierce racing at the front of the bunch. But as I said, the roads are fully closed, so there's plenty of space. Unlike if you race in the UK on open roads, it can get quite precarious at times. But anyway, I wanted to dig into each of the stages and just sort of run through how the race panned out for me during the 4 stages. Just think it might be quite helpful for anyone who's either looking to prepare for something like this or they're looking to do this next year. I might do another video on the actual preparation that I sort of went into, which was, I did up the training quite a bit to prepare for this. But there's there's a lot you can do to just ensure that you kind of maximise your potential for the 4 days. So let's get into stage 1. So stage 1 was due to take part, or it did take part down near Palma, just a bit further around the coast, as you can see here. It was billed to be quite a bit longer than this, probably nearly double the length, but we had some quite bad weather in the days leading up to the race, and the forecast I think was for much of the same. But in true weather forecasting fashion, the weather was absolutely fine. It was actually probably one of the warmer days while we were there. So it's quite ironic that they shortened it and they didn't need to. We also didn't get a notification until 11 p.m. the day before. Luckily, my training, my teammate Charlie, who I coach actually, saw the email before he went to bed. I was already fast asleep. And all I remember is getting a bang on the door at 7:30 in the morning telling me that we needed to leave ASAP. And I just thought, I'm not racing, this is a joke, I can't do it. But anyway, long story short, we got our stuff together and we headed over to Palma. We were staying in Palencia. So again, that wasn't ideal In terms of the race strategy, we'd kind of discussed it the day before, the days leading into this. And having raced on this course before, I kind of knew that it would be quite hard to get away. This is the profile, and as you can see, it's not very lumpy. The actual build race, so the planned course actually does a loop around here. So you end up adding quite a bit more on to the distance. But there's no real climbs to speak of. The only thing that's really going to split this race up is if there's any weather. And typically, it's going to be quite dry. And and unless it blows a gale, there's not really going to be much separation in the bunch. Saying that, I did do this race back in 2022, and funny enough, this was the first stage back then, and there was a break, and luckily I was in that break, and we did get away. But I think we were just a bit fortunate on that day because the bunch just got caught napping. Anyway, back to this race. So yeah, we started the race probably with the mindset of we just want to get round this one. We just want to tick this one off because it's just going to be a complete, everyone hitting it hard. It's only going to be just over an hour. As you can see, it was like an hour and 10. And, everyone's going to have enough energy for this, especially on the first stage. Everyone's going to be raring to go. So, yeah, we just thought, let's just try and get round. Obviously, try and stay near the front. Nothing's going to get away. But as it turned out, 3 riders did get away, and it was right at the start. So, in terms of my own positioning, I think it probably wasn't the best. I was a bit too far back at the time that they started pressing on. But yeah, I could see them going up the road, and it was either, put myself in a big hole early on, or just wait and see and hope that because the bunch is really keen, it just gets pulled back. But it never did. So if we just have a quick look at the numbers for this particular stage, I mean, there's nothing. It's not that impressive really. I think I normalised just under 320 at 319. Average was around 260. You can see here, obviously it was a slowish start. The neutralised section was pretty long actually, a bit longer than normal, I think, because of some dampness still on the roads at the start, and there's a particularly sharp bend to negotiate early on. So I think they wanted to get us through that and then let the flag drop. But when it did, it was pretty frantic to begin with. You can see here, like the anaerobic reserves, the W prime is just getting depleted quite a bit here. I mean, partly that's me as well. I was quite aggressive at the start, especially when I saw that group going up the road. So once they drop the flag for this section here, I'm working pretty hard. I mean, 26 minutes, 330 MP, 280 average. Average speed is like 29 mile an hour. So, it's pretty difficult to get away if you're not already away at this point. So worked quite hard. My teammate and friend Charlie was saying all he could see was me attacking, and nothing was really sticking. But I was keen just to, really stay at the front and also, really test the legs out, wake them up a bit. I thought it's only an hour long this stage. I can do a hard hour, and it's not really going to affect me for the rest of the week. So I wasn't too bothered about putting some efforts in. There was a bit of a lull here. I think I probably just went back into the bunch and just sat in for a little while, and then probably just got bored, sitting in. So actually, I think I remember seeing a few riders go up the road at this point. It was on this part of the course. You can see actually as the heart rate ticks up, we're getting into threshold territory here. So from about this point, I think, to about here, I hit it quite hard, yeah, like 22 minutes, 346 MP, 320 average. What's the average speed? Yeah, again, like close to 29 mile an hour. So, yeah, I think we was in a break of about four of us. We did get a little gap off the front, but there was only two of us working. So, in the end, it just got brought back. So, a bit futile. But, yeah, you've got to try these things. You've got to roll the dice, otherwise you never know. Usually, sometimes it can stick. But the run into this finish is pretty frantic, to be honest. You can see here. I mean, it is sloping down and it is fast. These roads are quick. And to add a bit more complexity to it, there was a bunch of roadworks going on here. So there was about an 8-inch drop in the curve as they were re-tarmacking a section of road. So you had to be careful of that. And then with the running, you've got this roundabout, and a lot of the riders went round the right-hand side, but I was already clued up to this, so I made sure I stuck on the left, shortest route round. Yeah, but by that point, you're sprinting for minor places, so I just whacked it. I think it was a 1-minute effort. If I look here, yeah, it's the 1 minute best 1 minute power in that race was right at the end, 500 watts, just all the way round into the finish, just to stay out of trouble. And came in at about 23rd or something, so in the top sort of 25% of the bunch, and made it safely home, as did my teammate Charlie. I think he was just a couple of spots behind me. But yeah, overall, fairly enjoyable stage given the prospect of bad weather initially, but it never materialised, and we got to stay in the mix until the end. The three riders ahead, I think, ended up with about a 54-second gap. So already come stage two, we're down nearly a minute. So that kind of set us up for making sure that we were at least at the front end of the race to begin with, in case anything did go. And we were quite attacking, to be honest. But yeah, I'll cover stage two shortly.